Well, good evening. Welcome to the Saline County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting tonight, December 7th, 2020. We'll begin with our agenda items, the consent agenda. Item A is approval of the agenda for December 7th, 2020. Do you have any additions or changes to that?
Mr. Chairman, I do have one typo that needs to be corrected. I think that on the description, I've got 200 acres, and it needs to be 3 acres.
3 acres.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make that correction.
Okay. Any other changes? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. Item B, approval of the minutes for the November 2nd, 2020 meeting. Any discussion or?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for November 2nd.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the November 2nd, 2020 meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2, application CUP 2020-104. Staff, if you want to give us an overview?
Sure. This is a request to install a 120-foot telecommunications tower located generally at 2161 West Watkins Road. The parcel contains approximately 3 acres. It's at the request of AMG NextLink, and the existing land use is residential. The parcel is zoned agricultural, and it's within the rural development area as outlined in our comprehensive plan. The owner of the property is Carl Hare, and there is an agreement, lease agreement that the applicant has with the owner. The property is located in the middle of ag zoning. You have ag zoning to the north, south, east, and west on adjacent parcels. The parcel, however, is located within the regulatory floodplain. The applicant is proposing the tower and will have at least, based on the current location, the tower will be approximately 120 feet from the west property line and 140 feet from the south property line of the parcel. I was able to include the site plan. I know I've mentioned a little bit later, further down, that one of my conditions is that they submit a site plan, or that the site plan is pending. That did come, and I did include that in your packets. The tower will not be located in the airport buffer zone. Because the tower will be located in the floodplain, all ground equipment must be elevated 2 feet above the established base flood elevation of 1226.0. And I think I've included the letter from Caw Valley Engineering on that. There are at least 2 existing towers within the vicinity of this site. However, it is undetermined whether these towers have co-locate capabilities. I think one of them that we examined was, dates from about 1963 or something like that. So I don't think that anything that old would have anything modern, for a modern antenna. FAA and FCC documentations have been submitted for this site. It's proposed that this antenna will service the area school districts for internet. There have been no public comments and no comments from other departments. Under the review criteria, the use would be consistent with other similar uses approved in the recent past for communications towers. This use poses no adverse impact on the adjacent properties and uses, with no effect on traffic in the area. The use may not pose any aesthetic issues for the area, as most of the surrounding properties are all ag-related uses with, some residential included in there. The cell tower may provide improved internet connectivity for the area schools. Staff is recommending approval of the conditional use permit with the condition. I'm going to amend this since they have submitted a site plan. That first point has been fulfilled. However, we will not issue a building permit until the commercial permit review has been completed through the city of Salina. Your alternatives would be to approve the request with conditions as listed above, or conditionally approve the request with other conditions that you may deem necessary. With that, I'll just turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, staff. Is there anyone from the applicant that would wish to address this?
Anthony Johnson for NextLink.
Sir, you want to pull that mic up so
Anthony Johnson for NextLink. I'm the construction manager for the region here. I'm the one who would actually be setting that pole, standing, building it, setting up the radios. I'm just here to answer any kind of technical questions or construction questions you have about the site.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
yes, sir. I'm looking at the site plan here and I see the tower location. About how far away is that from that building there, shop building?
I believe it's about, I was just out there and I didn't measure it exactly, but I would consider it probably about 50 to 60 feet away.
Any concerns about that tower getting blown over on top of that building at all?
No.
I
So
mean,
these,
that's not my concern, but I can be concerned
Yeah.
about the landowner.
So the towers themselves have a concrete base that sinks into the ground about 22 feet. And then they have 12 inch-and-a-half bolts that bolts the tower sections to that concrete base. These are towers they're a Mezco tower. They're oftentimes used at stadiums to install lights with a lot of surface area on them, locally here in Kansas and throughout the tornado belt. And Mezco states that when properly installed, they just really don't have a chance of blowing over. We're installing a lot less equipment on it than you would see on a typical stadium lighting. The surface area of it obviously is affected by the wind. Ours is about 30% less than what you'd see on a standard light pole. So the long answer is I could not foresee it being blown over.
All right, well, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions from the commission? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that would wish to address us? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission for discussion. Any comments or questions? Questions for staff?
On the sheet from the engineering company stating that it's, I think it's regarding the tower's position as elevation. Is that, must be 2 feet above the floodplain elevation?
That's correct.
So as I understand that regulation there and what they're requesting is that any ground equipment be raised up. So these poles also have a mounting system along the side of the pole that allows us to mount our cabinet or our network box to the side of the pole. And I can raise that anywhere from ground level to about 6 feet up off the ground elevation there.
So what they're not saying you need to install a lift to put the base in, the concrete base?
No, the
That can
concrete
go at-
base is not considered ground equipment.
Okay.
The equipment itself is any network cabinets, diesel generators, gasoline generators, anything along those lines would need to be elevated up off the surface, above the floodplain.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve CUP 2020-104 as recommended by staff.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve application CUP 2020-104 with the one recommendation from staff. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
And just to let you know, under announcements, we will have another tower to be considering on Mariposa Road from the same company. And that will be in January, and we're thinking that might be a Zoom meeting, just to let you know. We'll let you know the details of that if that transpires, but if that's the case, I had planned on also discussing next month section 1 for the goals of the comprehensive plan in chapter 4, but I'm going to go ahead and put that off because it makes it difficult if we're not in person to discuss those goals. So, but as I said, right now, the only thing on the agenda would be a tower on Mariposa. And we're going to do that possibly by Zoom, but we'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Anything else from commission or staff? Have a motion to end?
I motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned.
Is Westland off now for a while, or what? And are they through the Christmas holiday?
I think it is through the Christmas holiday they come back. Sometime in January, I'm not
I
sure.
drove by there today, still pretty sparse. I suppose there's basketball players and
Yeah.
volleyball players, and
That's about it.
men's and women's, both basketball. And
People that are tearing down North Hall. Yeah.
finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can walk over there about any time and smell marijuana.
For whatever reason.
Yeah.
And that's what we.
Well, you know, the heavier stuff just doesn't, you know, as you said, you know, you can smell it. Heavier stuff doesn't lend itself. No. Oh, yeah, that really got run, that was run down 50 years ago.
Yeah.
I knew about your I had another drone, knew that the was right there.
Whatever.
Well, I was with my son this week.
Place was about 50
Oh,
years ago.
I'm stationed in Kingman County.
Yeah, it's, no doubt it needed to be done.
They needed parking.
Look at everything, it's like,
I don't know what the, you know, the rest of the dorms aren't in great shape either.
quarantine, I'm okay.
I was doing some security out there
Anyway,
for
so
First Choice. I go in Old Farfer Hall or Wilson, even Wesley Hall. Of course, Wesley's a lot newer than those other ones.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you.
It was just a good, the tough thing is getting a fundraiser going because people like to put money into Grace Family Sports Complex or whatever. Yeah, you're so right. But they really need to do something with the dorm.
7 years now.
I mean, not tear it down, but just kind of start redoing.
Yeah, just maybe a floor at a time or something. Just realize, well, you call it Wesley Hall, I always call it New View. That was,
North and just across.
that's by far the newest house.
And it's over 9 years old.
Yep.
You know,
So,
fishing lake is.
yeah, it's definitely, it's time, even the way.
Somewhere in there, there's one and it's
It's very old style, old fashioned, yeah.
equipment building is.
And students do notice that.
Oh, sure they do. Well, moms and dads do too.
I've done that several
Mom and
times
dad's
where,
paying the bill, they see,
Some of our
see
customers use a larger, almost like a shipping container.
I know, even when I was there 40 years ago, we lost so many athletes because they'd walk out and they'd look at the
36 inches by
field and
36
go like,
inches by 72 inches.
my
tall.
practice field back home is better than this.
oh yeah,
Against
the
the side of the
old
tower.
So there's not.
facility was adopted.
No, so inside that cabinet is battery backup. There's 72 amp-hour batteries that sit in the bottom of the cabinet, and then some switches, some power supplies, and some air conditioning. So it's real simple with this stuff. It's going to be fed over the air by another tower in the area, so it shoots internet from this tower over this tower, and then it broadcasts it out to the schools, residents, businesses, whomever needs to use it. Well, that really depends on the radio I put on. Out here where it's nice and flat, you know, I can do 40, 50 miles if I really wanted to from point to point. But we try and keep it within about 7 for this higher speed internet.